Hey everyone, I hope you all are catching up with coordination compounds. And today, looking at this, please don't get afraid because crystal field theory, as the name suggests, most of the people, as soon as they come over here, they skip this topic. But remember that this is a very, very important topic and it is not difficult. Now, we are going to take a very different approach to understand this. Now, let's see what is that. First, we are going to do the application of crystal field theory, okay, and that is the splitting of d orbitals. The splitting of d orbitals will do of two types, that is in octahedral complexes and tetrahedral complexes. Okay, to start with, let's understand the splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes. Once you understand this, then we'll talk about spectrochemical series. Okay, and after that we'll talk about the salient features of crystal field theory. So this is the route that we are going to take for understanding this concept, and trust me, it's very simple. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start building the concept for understanding the crystal field theory. Now, what we are going to do here is understand what is splitting of d orbital and how does it come into picture. Before that, you have to understand what is octahedral crystals or what are octahedral complexes. Okay, so now imagine that you have a metal, and metal, we know that we are talking about the transition metal, that is the central metal atom. Okay, so if you have a central metal atom which is surrounded by four ligands in one plane, okay, so you have the metal and you have four ligands at the corners, okay, of let's say a square, okay, and they are in one plane. So the ligands at the square or a rectangle, you can say, and the metal in the center, which all of them lie in the same plane. Okay, now when you talk about the metal above or below, that is, let's pass an axis through the metal. So when you pass an axis through the metal, you will get two more ligands. Okay, so that is this ligands. Okay, so now this four ligands lie in the same plane, while this two ligands lie actually, okay, to the central metal atom. So now you have a clear idea of how an octahedral complex look like. Okay, fine. Now, what happens when you form an octahedral complex? Okay, that is what we need to understand. Why? Because the metal is now having d orbitals, and there is something that is happening to the d orbital, okay, while the formation of this complex. Okay, so when you understand that, then you're talking about this splitting of the d orbital. So what happens? Okay, now let's consider this as your energy axis. Okay, and this is what is happening to the energy of the d orbital, okay, while the formation of the octahedral complex. So initially what we have? Initially we have a d orbital, okay, which is not surrounded by anything, that is no ligands, nothing, that's only d orbital. Now, because there was only d orbital, you know that d orbital has 5d shells, right? So if you have 5d shells, or you can say subshells, so what is the name for them? Okay, so the d orbital suborbital names are as follows. You will have dxy, dyz, dxz. Okay, and this three lie in the same plane. Okay, these are the three, okay, orbitals which will lie in this plane. Okay, d orbitals. Next, you have dx square minus y square and dz square, which is lying actually to the metals, that is this position. Okay, so now we again have one clear picture in octahedral complex, that is the first three d orbital, that is dxy, yz, xz, is planar, okay, to the central metal. Okay, while the dx square minus y square and dz square is lying axially. Is this clear? Okay, this is when the ligand is coming into picture, this is when you will get that. But over here what you have is degenerate d orbitals. Okay, and this degenerate d orbital, it means all of them are of same energy. Okay, you can see on the energy axis all of them are of same energy. Okay, and this is when the ligands are not present. Okay, that is in absence of the ligands. Now let's say a metal is going to form a complex, okay, and the ligands are slowly approaching the metal. So now just imagine charges. The electron in the outermost orbital has negative charge Similarly, in ligands, the electrons will have negative charge. So what will happen when metal and ligands come close to each other? Initially, what will happen, that the negative charge, okay, will repel each other, okay, and when there is repulsion, the stability of the system is now decreasing. If the stability is decreasing, the energy is increasing. That is what is happening over here, okay. So now this degenerate orbitals have slowly, okay, rose the energy, has risen the energy to certain level, okay. So you can see that shift, that is, there is increase in the energy level, okay. Now this is nothing but the degenerate d orbital of metals now in crystal field. Now they are about to form a crystal. The crystal is not yet formed, they are about to form the crystal, okay. This is the initial repulsion that they face, okay, and because of that the energy is increased. Now what happens after the formation of the crystal? Okay, this octahedral is a crystal form, okay. Now when the crystal is getting formed, it will have a particular fixed definite energy, okay, right. So that is what is going to happen. Now what has happened, the ligands has placed the electron into the d orbital, okay, into this empty d orbitals of the metal, okay, of the central metal. So when they have placed the electron, they will have energy something like this, okay. So there are three stages of splitting of d orbital. The first one is your empty d orbital, no repulsion, very stable, least energy. Ligands are approaching, there is electronic repulsion, the energy of the system rises, okay, and that is now in crystal field. The metal is now in crystal field, the crystal is just about to be formed, okay. So this is your degenerate d orbital. Still it is not splitted, but now when the ligands have started placing the electrons in the d orbital, that is in this, they will split, okay, and they will split into two. What is that? Okay, now you can see that I have done this, like 5 d orbitals are splitting into 2, that is 3:2, okay. So the 3 orbitals that will be together is going to be dxy, dyz and dxz, okay. So remember, the 3 orbitals that is always going to be together, that is dxy, dyz and dxz. This set you can call as T2G, okay. I repeat, this set of, you don't have to call this again and again. You can simply say that these 3 suborbitals are nothing but T2G. That's an alternate name, okay. The next one, the other 2 suborbitals, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, you can call as EG. I hope this is clear, okay. So I repeat, this d orbitals, this 5 suborbitals, they split into 2, that is into T2G and EG, where your T2G will comprise of dxy, dyz and dxz, while your EG will comprise of dx square minus y square and dz square. I hope till here everything is clear, okay. What next? Okay, now there is splitting based on what? Let's understand that, okay. Practically what happens, this ligands which are in the plane, okay, they feel less repulsion from the metal, okay. I repeat, the ligands that are in a plane, that is dxy, dyz and dxz, they experience less repulsion from the central metal because they are lying in the same plane. But the ligands that are lying above and below, that is in the actual position, they are, you know, under a lot of repulsion. Therefore the energy will be more compared to this, okay. That is what is happening. That is, the dx square minus y square and dz square are facing more repulsion, and therefore they will be higher in energy compared to the first 3 orbitals, okay. That is nothing but your splitting. You can see very clearly that if this is the energy of your d orbital, okay, degenerate d orbital, you can see that your dx square minus y square and dz square, that is your EG, is higher in energy compared to this. Yes or no, right? So if this is the benchmark, the energy of EG is definitely more, and you can see compared to this, the energy of T2G is less, okay. So EG and T2G, if you want to say which one is more stable in octahedral complex, T2G. Why? Because the energy of T2G is less than EG. But how much? Okay, how much is the energy of T2G less than EG? That is what we need to understand. So now here we have a hypothetical number for experimental calculation of CFSE, that is crystal field stabilization energy. I'll explain you that later on, but for now let's understand what is this. Okay, the energy between EG and T2G, let's say the total energy difference between this is delta O. So when you talk about delta O, O indicates that it is an octahedral complex, okay, or you can say it is delta naught, whatever you like, okay. So delta naught, in delta naught, O indicates that it is an octahedral complex. So if it is a tetrahedral complex, you will say it is delta T, okay. Now this is 1 delta O, okay, and 1 delta O is equal to 10 dq, deciquantile, okay. So this is what you need to remember for now, that the energy, total energy gap between the EG and T2G is delta O or 1 delta O, or which is equal to 10 dq, okay. Now here's the point. From the degenerate orbitals, if you see, how will you say the energy gaps? You will say that the energy of T2G, I repeat, the energy of T2G is less by 0.4 delta O or delta naught or 4 dq. I repeat, if you want to talk about the energy compared to the degenerate orbital, the energy of T2G, okay, compared to this, or compared to the EG also, you can say, compared to EG, the energy of T2G is 0.4, okay, delta naught or 4 dq less. Similarly, the energy of your EG is more by 0.6 delta naught or 6 dq. So you can talk about it percentage, and in percentage it is going to be 60-40, okay. That is, the energy of EG is 60% more, or you can say that the energy of T2G is 40% less than EG. I hope you understand this, okay. So this is what you need to understand, and this is all the numbers of splitting of d orbital, okay. So now again, what you're seeing here is nothing but an application of crystal field theory. Once you understand this, you can very easily understand what is crystal field theory, what are the salient features of crystal field theory, okay. Application is more important part, so we have to understand that. So again, in crystal field theory, what we are doing splitting of orbitals. Of which orbital? Of d orbital, okay. Which d orbital? The d orbital which is the metal, the central metal of a complex. This answers some question. The next question you need to ask, which complex splitting are we going to talk? We are going to talk about splitting of two complexes, that is octahedral and tetrahedral. Today we are talking about splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes only, okay. So let's understand this completely. The next thing, what did we say? In octahedral complexes, you will have the first 3 d orbital, that is dxy, yz, xz in the same plane, and the other two, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, which is axial to the central metal. Initially, all the d orbital are degenerate d orbital having the same energy when there was no ligand in their vicinity. But when ligand starts approaching, they slowly rise in energy, okay, and this is your degenerate d orbital in your crystal field. Slowly the crystal formation will start occurring when the ligands are very close to the metal and the filling of the electrons starts. So now, once the filling of the electrons starts, they will split into two, that is, the one with the lower energy and the one with the higher energy. So which orbitals are lower in energy? The one which are in the plane of the metal, okay, the one which are in the plane of the metal. Who is in the plane of the metal? The T2G, okay, that is dxy, dyz and dxz. Collectively they are called as T2G, okay. Which orbitals are axial? Okay, the axial orbitals are EG, okay. Which are they? This is nothing but your dx square minus y square and dz square. What is the difference in energy between the EG and the T2G? It is delta naught or 10 dq. Clear? Okay. Next, how much stable is the T2G compared to EG? It is stable by 0.4 delta naught or 4 dq, okay, or the energy of EG is more by 0.6 delta naught or 6 dq. If you understand all these things, you know everything about this. That is nothing but the splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes. I hope this was very, very clear to all of you. Watch this video twice, and after that, go through your notes, okay, whatever you have, and go through the application of crystal field theory. Read thoroughly the splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes. I'm very sure that you will understand it 100% for now. Okay, so see you soon in the next class with splitting of d orbital in tetrahedral complexes. Thank you.